Are you a minute in?
I am indeed a minute in. Let me check the stream. Same time as us, alright. So, for America, who takes a death right away, we have two dervishes, LE Mesmer Ritualist, Dan guy. Looks like a spike build, right?
Yep.
And they're up against Virtual Relationships running also a spike with two dervishes, a ranger, a paragon, and an LE. And just thoughts real quick on the builds from you guys?
I'd like to hear No Monks on FA afterwards, but just real quick, I've seen FA run this spike build, and they still run 2 Wounding Strike dervishes, despite the fact that like Wounding Strike and dervishes in general don't spike as hard. I'm not sure.
I was playing with them while they were running this, and I mean we were getting kills pretty quick, and the spikes are pretty clean. So I don't see that change really affected the spike frequency, but it definitely affected the spike damage. And the frequency is what makes this build so good. You spike so often that it pressures out the other monks.
True.
I'm seeing some different skills on their dervishes too. I noticed like Trevor's Luppy is running Zealous Renewal, which I haven't seen too much, if at all, on dervishes in GVG before. Whereas Virtual Relationships dervish seem to be running Balthazar Heart of Fury dervs, sorry, Pious Fury dervs.
It definitely seems like eLuv's more the standard pressure dervs, and FAs are kind of like just pure spike derv.
It definitely looks like kind of a pressure spike out of eLuv. I mean, they got a water LA as opposed to an air LA on FA. They have the Ranger, who's not as big of a spiker, but they do have that Paragon, who really opens up kind of midline spike opportunities. Also gives you a lot of on-demand damage for those dervishes if they see a kill coming. They can just target it, and the Paragon gets on it. Paragons are really popular on Imperial Isle because it's a very open map. There's not a lot of places to hide. So while you can dodge spears pretty effectively, you're also not going to get a lot of throwing into walls and things from your Paragon. A lot of pressure here on FA. You see the kill come in here on the front line. It's always, as we saw last MAT, it was a big key for a lot of victories, was spiking out front line.
This Mesmerite, oh wow, RC, million health heal.
Does America have any knockdowns? I'm noticing that Equal Opportunities keeps throwing out Brace Yourself, but I don't notice any knockdowns from the other team.
You might have a Gale on Axie and LE.
Yeah.
You often see that on the air LE. They'll try to Gale one monk and then spike the other one, but I haven't seen them use it yet.
Taking a death on a monk, and Mesmer might be dead also.
America's just getting trained out here. It doesn't look like they're dying from like straight up team pressure. It's just kind of what we call training targets, where you just kind of stay on a guy for a while and just kind of wear him down.
And they're not even getting that Mesmer up like anytime. Their spikes are really not going to go through without him, which is not looking good.
Push back in their footies here, flag, definitely, and eLuv just has this under control.
See another D shot on the Dervish numbers 1's res sig. I mean, they're trying to get him up, they just can't do it. Can't.
And when you see for America not able to spike, not allowing eLuv to just kind of do whatever they want and take a lot of damage, for America that is, their monks are going to be removing these snares that the Elementalists and the Ritualists are putting out there on their front line as well. And if those snares and blurs are staying on there, it's just kind of snowballs to where they're just not doing anything real. You can just see this Evelyn guy right now, he's just not even hitting anybody. Because he's getting Icy Shackled, which is very effective against dervishes with the 90% slow if they're enchanted.
They do get the Mesmer up, but now they're like really taking the pressure. It's not just spikes that are going to They're in a real risk of just wiping out the pressure of it.
Yeah,
And
their
the Rit does-
flagger went in to cap and really stretched their team in a way that they weren't ready for, and they took a big death
Especially
for
while
it.
they were still under pressure.
As a flagger, I hate seeing those types of things. They should have just had one of the dervishes
death
running.
pack
Oh,
kill.
and a death pack kill there. That is really
Right
rough.
after time
23
also.
seconds after time. The other monk going down. He's getting trained really hard. Cruel spear,
might be,
dervish. I mean, the Paragon finishing him off. Equal
Both
opportunities.
monks down
He's
after.
willing to kill anybody. This should be game with about a minute 20 to go.
It's really weird to kind of see them lose in that manner because the build FA's running should be able to handle the sort of, I don't know, kind of balanced spike that eLuv is running. Because they have like the extra wit with weapons, they do have the other with blind. And they just seem to get trained out despite those like sort of anti-train mechanisms. So I don't know if it was just like poor play on their part, or whether they just weren't ready and didn't know how to stop this kind of, I would say, rather unique build by eLuv. It's not something we normally see people running.
Usually you would expect for America to be running warriors like we talked about earlier. Really quick thoughts from Robert about that. I mean, when you see dervishes being used in a spike build over warriors like that, where you'd think you'd see dervishes more in a pressure build like what? The
Well, I think we
European
provided
team
ways for
eLuv was
dervish
running.
to
What do you think about
to
that?
spike. We try to, when we were going through this, we tried to do a lot of ways to make them slightly inferior to warriors in terms of their spike capabilities. It may be necessary for us to hit that again in a future update. Part of what I think we're dealing with, and this is something we've dealt with in the past, is when something's been meta for a little while, even when we change stuff, it takes a little while sometimes for people to adjust themselves, and in some cases, we even have to actually over-nerf things in order to get people to just start playing a little differently. Just because, even though something may be taken down to a level where we feel it's balanced, you won't necessarily see people change immediately because they'll be used to what they've been running beforehand.